Hey guys, welcome Muskie Road Rules Podcast, episode number 223. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in with us every week. It's the winter time, so we're going to be talking a lot of sports shows, a lot of upcoming stuff, maybe some trends we see and what people are buying out there, and talking about some of the Road Rules events that we got going on. The next Muskie Road Rules event, or the first one of this season, is going to be February 4th at Sportsman's Repair in Mosinee, Wisconsin, followed by, on February 5th, we're going to be in the Chicagoland area. We're going to be at a new location there at the North Branch Pizzeria and Burger. It's where the Chicagoland chapter meets for their stuff. This year we're going to have speakers at the Mosinee event. It's going to be Steve Herbie Herbeck, a big fish legend up in Wisconsin, and at Eagle Lake up there in Canada, former owner of Andy Meyer's Lodge, and Pete Blickard. Him and his dad won the PMTT World Championship a couple years ago. Pete has been fishing it for a long time, been very, very successful, and also winner of the Spring Classic up there in northern Wisconsin. Pete's got a lot of information up in that Vilas County area. At the Chicago Clinic this year, we're going to have Austin Wiggerman. Again, Steve Herbeck's going to be in Chicago as well. You can check him out there if you can't make it up to the Wisconsin event. And we're going to have Kevin Pischke from the Green Bay area talking. Going to have a great time. Remember, guys, the events start at 10 a.m. It's $45 to get in. Women and children are free, and all kinds of goodies there that you can buy and win. And it'll be a nice event for a Saturday, Sunday. So check that out. Remember, mark your calendars or go to muskieroadrules.com to check that out. And we'd love for you to text us here during the show. Or after the show on our text line at 606-776-6570. That's the Lungin Lures text line, guys. It's the one that Lungin Lures, LunginLures.com. The makers of a ton of quality crankbaits and spinners, the 22 short, 22 long, the Chad, the makers of the 50 cal. They've got the 22 SS, just a ton of different baits there. The Chubby and the new Alley Cat series of lures. Check them out at LunginLures.com. And again, the text line at 606-776-6570. Oh, on the line right now with me, I've got Luke Ronnestrand from Thorne Brothers in Minnesota, and I have also the namesake of the Chad. He puts the Chad in the shad. Chad Harmon from up in Wisconsin, or in Ohio. Sorry about that. Guys, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm out of breath now after saying all that.
That was a lot of words real quick. I'm doing well.
A lot of words. Well, I am doing good. I have a 9-year-old sleepy bulldog, and I have a 7-week-old puppy bulldog that's driving me insane. So if you hear me yell, it means the little one bit my toe again, because he seems to like doing that when I'm not looking. So
one thing about puppies that they don't get credit for is how awful they are.
Oh, this one.
We got a new lab last September, and Winnie was twice as aggravating as any of the 3 kids that we had when they were babies. I mean, they're worse than babies, like no joke.
Oh, this one, he looks cute, and he has a lot of skin that he has to grow into, but he loves the 9-year-old Brody, which you guys are at the shows this year, you're going to see Brody. The little one likes to come up behind him and bite, like right below his knee. He likes to bite him right there, and he likes to bite him on his lip that droops down. It kind of just dangles there like a turkey neck, and the little one likes to bite him there. So when that happens, it gets very, very interesting. And I'm on Team Brody when it comes to yelling at the dog, because Brody finally is just like, well, he can't climb yet, so I'm just going to get on the couch and just sit here and let him run around on the floor. But
now, is this going to be your new boat dog?
No. Well, maybe. He ain't getting in a boat anytime soon, I can tell you that, because he is into everything. If it's on the floor, if it dangles, if it's hanging, if it's a cord, it's going to be in his mouth. So he's quite the little adventurer right now, but we'll see. He'll be at the Milwaukee show with us in the Muskie Hunter booth because we're going up to the place in the Angle to put some flooring in to fix it up and be able to to get it ready. Just to add another thing to it for the renters, and yeah, it should be pretty good. Now, Luke, me and you were at the Chicago Muskie Expo over the weekend. What did you think of it?
I would like it's always a good time to go down there and see everybody. This kind of like a lot of, I would say about half of my clientele's from the Chicago area, and then just from all the years of doing that sports show, I know a lot of people, and so it's always good to go down there and see everybody. But then it's kind of like that show kind of kicks off the muskie season, and then on certain years when guys get to fish really late, it's almost like that show kind of like puts a bow on the end of the muskie season, right? Sure.
I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought the crowd was good. I thought a lot of people walking around. Last year it was definitely a down show, but I think we were still seeing a COVID hangover at that show. And but this year, I think it was actually a really good show. We had talked to a lot of people, seen some new faces, which is always nice to see. And I thought it was a pretty good event. Now, were you mainly just in Thorne Brothers booth? Did you go into any more?
No, I was. That's weird. Like you were saying, how busy the show was. I mean, I was in a booth, and I really only made it over into your neck of the woods there on that side of the show like 2 times, just in the morning, maybe on like Friday morning and Saturday morning, just for a quick walk.
Sure. Yeah. Now at Thorns there, what did you notice that anybody was buying anything? Did you see any bait or product that was more that people were clamoring for a little more this year than in the past?
Not really. I would say bait wise, we had some Kramer Brothers bucktails, and as everybody knows, those are kind of hit or miss when they hit shelves. So those were a real popular item. And then we have some really cool custom colors in a lot of our different like the different lines, but I would say like the custom Mayhem stuff and the custom Frenzy stuff went over really well. Frenzy's got a new IC12 that's really cool. People are buying those, and then just kind of the stock standard stuff. Did I miss something, or is there anything that's like that crazy and that new that you got to have this year?
I haven't heard of too much. There was, I just see a ton of custom colors. The one thing that I did see is the DeLong Tackle Company. They have actually on their 2 witch lures, their giant witch and flying witch, have added treble hooks to them. And I thought they looked really, really cool in the water for guys that like big baits. The giant witch is 16 inches, and the smaller flying witch, they added drop down trebles, which I think is definitely going to be a huge deal for them. It was always a big complaint with those lures is the single hooks. But these drop down trebles actually look really good. They also changed the weight up in it. And I thought it actually had a really cool action. I can't wait to actually throw one. I brought one back to test it out here while I was back home for a couple days, but probably not going to be able to. We got to get back up to the Ohio show that's coming up here this weekend in Columbus. But did you see anything else there that caught your eye, Luke?
Well, lure wise, obviously, like the Muskie Innovations, like every single year they hit it out of the park with their custom colors. That new their new lunar series of lures just kind of had like that iridescent flash. I don't even know how he's doing it. If it's a tape or if it's just like a paint or what he's doing.
I think it's a paint, because I was asking him about one of them, and he said he couldn't get that. Stop biting the cord. Stop it. was trying to paint in the mold, and it sounds like a kind of an involved process, but yeah, I agree. That stuff looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this is going to have such a cool flash to it. But I don't probably my favorite and our favorite at the shop. The new debut that we had at the show was our stealth rods.
Yeah, tell people about that don't know about the stealth series. I actually got to play with some of those while I was there, and they look like pretty nice rods.
Yeah, no, it was just we were just adding to our series of rods, and a lot of people are very familiar with our Predator line of rods. That's kind of our flagship custom rod. But we've been kind of limited to the 3 actions that we have in those rods, and basically it's only 2 actions that we really make a lot of, and that's the extra heavy stealth and heavy stealth. And our heavy stealth is a very moderate rod, and a lot of our customers and myself, and I believe you, I like a heavier action rod. I really don't like soft rods for too many things. I mean, up by us, we're using a lot of big baits with 5/0, 6/0, 7/0 hook. That's a lot of barb to get into a fish's mouth.
Sure.
And, so we basically we came up with a heavy rod that's actually a true heavy, a really nice all around rod. You can throw a small to medium sized bucktail with it and actually get by in a pinch throwing a really heavy rubber bait. I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of throwing even the new generations of pounders on it, and it's got a little bit heavier midsection, but it's not a pool cue. It casts really well. And then we did an extra heavy in that is similar, but I would say just a click different than our extra heavy Predator. And then we did a true medium heavy. And then the other thing that's really, with everybody up by us fishing out of yachts now, 20 foot and 21 foot, 22 foot multi-species boats. So we were able to get the blanks in a true 10 foot blank. And that's made our life easier there. The production runs of these rods are very light compared to similar rods. And the other nice thing is that we're able to offer these at around $100 less than our Predator. And it's I want to say the rods are $430, $400, and $375, going from extra heavy to the medium heavy. But they fish as nice as any of the $500 and up customs that we sell.
Sure. No, I mean, I played with them this weekend. Which one would you say? So you said the heavy one is you could actually even throw bulldogs with it?
Oh yeah, yep, for sure. I mean, as long as you're not ripping, as long as you're not ripping a milfoil edge with a pounder or something like that. But if you're just, if you're just throwing it at a shoreline or over a reef, or you're just hitting the occasional stalk of cabbage, you'd be able to throw some of the heavier baits with it. But it's just, as far as, it's going to excel from everything from a showgirl to a mag double dog. Great with all of your top waters. Threw some diving rise, some medium-sized diving rises with it, some 10-inch Suics, some 12, some of the Magnum bar fighters, things like that. And it was just a great utility rod for me. I was lucky enough to get the prototypes in June, and I pretty much fished with that heavy the entire year. It just sort of worked really well for a lot of different things.
Okay.
The other cool thing with those rods and all of our customs this year is we, if you guys are all familiar with the wind grips. They make golf club handles and tennis racket handles, and Wind Grip is making our foregrips, and we also have a really cool Wind Grip rear grip that's going to be offered in these rods, and those are really comfortable to hang on to. They're durable. They're slightly tacky, and they hold their shape really well, and they're just really, really nice.
Okay, well that's cool. What's the on those rods? I mean, what the extra heavy? Was that just a little too heavy for you for throwing some things?
Oh no, I see. Well, I mean, I'm just like you. I love extra heavy rods.
Yeah.
So I would say that I I would say no. I mean, I'll grab and I'll throw a small to medium sized bucktail on that, and and then with that you can definitely throw about every rubber bait under the sun.
Sure.
So I would say like I'll grab the I grab the extra heavy when I'm throwing a little bit bigger bucktails, or if I'm popping baits through weeds.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad to see him, and that's going to be, Thorne Brothers is going to be at the Columbus Muskie Show, which is this weekend, guys. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the McCoy Center. So make sure that you guys check that out, because I'd want to, I'm sure Thorne Brothers is going to have a full line of all their stealth rods there, and you guys been saving all your money and getting the stuff from under the couch cushions. Stop by the show and see what they have. Speaking of that show, Chad Harmon is on here with me. Chad, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I'm doing great. So just looking forward to the show this weekend and getting to see everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of that whole, it's like the circus is in town for all the muskie guys and people in the area. We get guys from Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all that come over, and it's always a good time. And Chad, how was Ohio this year for your? Because you do guiding up there. How was it?
It was a pretty phenomenal year, to be honest with you. It was a little slow there in the beginning of the spring when we were getting ice off the lake, and then it just slowly started picking up more and more. Had a fairly good fall bite, and then the winter just exploded. I mean, the winter bite was just phenomenal. From what was that? November 9th to December 16th, we put over 100 fish in the boat, and it was just one after another.
That's not
you
bad.
Catch them on a cigarette butt if you wanted to, so it was nice.
Look, you remember when it used to be like that?
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
No, I go out there. It was like I'm with a divining rod, just kind of, I'm happy when I find the lake. Chad, we're, give us a run through of what the Ohio season is, because you're a little further north than us. So,
yeah.
When does it usually start, and when is a typical end?
Yeah, so usually we can get on the water from mid-March. The ice is just coming off. You're pretty safe to bet on that, and then you can run it all the way through to I would say the first of January there. So we don't have much ice that stays on the lake long at all. It's a really long season, and with the phenomenal fishing we have here, with the numbers and everything like that, we owe a lot of it to our ODNR. Their stocking with it is just out of this world, and it's just continuing to get better and better. The size of the fish is starting to take off now too, since they started using these advanced fingerlings out here. So we've seen a lot of mid 40-inch fish this year. So I would say probably in about 4 years or so, 4 to 5 years, we're going to be seeing a lot of 50-inchers coming out of Ohio.
Nice.
I mean, typically, yeah. So typically, I mean, there's probably only 7 or 8 50s caught a year in Ohio, which is, that's not very good when you're thinking trophy size muskie, but it's getting better, and we're seeing those bigger fish. So it's just continually improving.
Yeah.
One thing that when I used to be able to go to the Ohio show was just seeing how well built your fish are.
Yeah, we have a good shad population, man.
And your women.
Great.
Is somebody speechless there?
Little bit. But no, man, you guys get 48, 49 inchers that are 40-pound class, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And it just seems like there's specific reservoirs that are putting out those type of fish, and those reservoirs that are doing it, it's just that the shad population's off the hook with it, and they're just gorging themselves. And we'll see the fish in that caliber We'll see them in the summertime. We'll see them in the springtime full of eggs, and we'll see them in the wintertime when they're putting on that weight. So they hold that weight a lot of the year. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, those shad-based fisheries like that, those fish can just get huge, and that's one thing that's nice about them. Now, Chad, what you've been fishing Ohio, long time, your whole life. What would be, maybe give me like your top 3 lures that you would say produce for you year in, year out?
I mean, I'm kind of biased because I use them a lot, but the London lures at 22 shorts and everything like that.
Well, now let's let people know that was your bait, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I did a design on that probably about 8 years ago or 9 years ago. Ohio is known for small baits, and there wasn't really a musky caliber small bait on the market at the time, and we're just able to just present it in in front of a lot of fish that's what they're looking for. So, I mean, hands down, I'll have that in my boat all the time. I run them a lot. And then the other ones are like the 4.5-inch ball shads. And then like a newer glider to the market, the pandemic baits. We've been destroying them off those gliders. So it's just some really good stuff. So, and with the ball shads and the 22s, just because it's a crankbait, people think you're just trolling them and that's it. And it's not the case. You can cast them, troll them, obviously you can't jig them, but I'm sure if you can figure out how to catch fish.
Yeah, no, that's cool. What got you into, how did your muskie fishing, for you start, Chad? What got you into it? Did you lose a bet or, were you at an AA meeting and somebody stood up and talked about it or what?
Somebody asked me how much money I wanted to lose real quick, and I'm like, that muskie fishing, that's it.
That's it, yeah. Do you want to lose a lot of money? Yes. That's exactly right.
No, I was about I'd say 11 or 12 years old, and we used to always go down and fish Piedmont a lot, and we always see those Ohio, the Ohio Muskie Club. They'd have tournaments down there. Man, I always begged my dad to fish them, and we finally just started fishing for them now and then, and we were horrible.
I think everybody is horrible in the beginning, if they're truly honest.
We'd catch like maybe one the entire weekend, and it's a
weekend. When I started, I was happy with one for the year. It was like being on a Sasquatch hunt most of the days out there. So yeah, I get it. So. So when you started out, it was really, well, what lures were you using? I always like to ask that. What was the lures you were using when you started?
Suics, 9-inch grandmas, a lure called Sisson. I don't know if you guys know what those are or not.
That's a big Ohio lure. I hear Ohio guys talk about Sissons.
They're starting to come back too because nobody really has them anymore. So they're not getting thrown as much. So it's the pressure of lures on a lake. It definitely makes a difference on how they're eating them.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? How did you get started with it? I mean, how did this happen to you?
So I grew up. My grandma and grandpa had a cabin on the Holcomb Flowage.
Yeah,
which is in Wisconsin, and my mom and my dad are from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and so I grew up. Holcomb Flowage is a really good muskie, like muskie lake and reservoir in northwest Wisconsin there. And I was like in 4th grade. My parents bought a place there right next to my grandparents. And it kind of all started for my dad. We were floating the Flambeau River, and he had a big, like a mid 40-inch muskie that came up and grabbed his spinner that he was throwing for bass. And he was instantly hooked. And I obviously thought muskies were super cool too, but he caught the bug, and that's all he wanted to fish for. And just wanting to go out fishing all the time, I just asked, my dad would be like, all right, we're going fishing. I'd be like, all right, what are we going to go fish for? Are we going to go fish for bass? Going to go fish for walleyes? And he's like, no, we're going muskie fishing. And I'm not trying to make fun of my dad or anything, but back in the day, we'd always be like, my friends and I were up at the cabin and be like, no, Dad, we don't want to go muskie fishing. We never catch anything.
Well, I think that's everybody's, like I said, everybody's first few experiences.
And he, I would just go in the, and fish out of the back of the boat and, fish with little jerk baits and crankbaits and catch the occasional walleye and bass. And then, as the years went by, he started to get better at it. And he had started to have some action. And I want to say, I think when I was 14 years old, I was calling myself a muskie fisherman, but I'd still only caught the few by accident, like basically bass fishing. And then I think my 15th birthday, my dad hired Terry Moulton, the guy who moldy tackle, hog wobblers, topper stoppers.
Yeah.
And we went out with a guide trip on him on our lake, and we had a really fun day. We did catching a couple small ones, but then saw muskies and just kind of got, really enlightened on like how to fish the lake, and then things kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, it was a rough. It was a rough several years start to muskie fishing for us.
Well, I think everybody can relate to the tough few years. I was like 11 when I started with my dad, and I was always nervous because I didn't like to see him follow because I didn't know or aliens or something. So I'd never look over the side of the boat. And one time I had one follow, or one of the first few follows I had, I pulled the bait out of water and it just exploded by the boat. I shit my pants and just kind of like set back and was like, okay, we can do this. So
I legitimately remember being scared of them.
Oh yeah.
Like my grandpa had a bay that he could troll. He'd buy these big gold jointed Rappalas. I can't remember if it's the 11 or the 13 or whatever. And about one out of every 3 times when he'd troll down the shoreline, he'd hook a muskie. And my grandma tells me all the time about how I'd like run to the center console of the pontoon boat. And I was scared to see what was going on. No, Grandpa, no. But yeah, no, I don't know. I swear though, anybody can say what they want, but there's some personality flaw with every single muskie fisherman. Like we all have like some kind of crazy addictive personalities. Like somebody can say they don't.
Oh, you could start an AA meeting at any muskie show, just like right, and just swing a cat, and I think you could have one. Chad, so that got you going. Why did you start making the baits? Was that just like you just wanted to do something, or?
Just because I didn't see that type of bait on the market that would last, and I thought I just wanted something for myself, and then I started making some for my buddies, and then it just snowballed from there with it. And it was just something cool. I've always been a woodworker, or dealt with that kind of stuff. So I enjoyed doing that in the wood shop in the basement, and a lot of stuff didn't work. So it just
sure.
I think my first one just spun in circles in the water. I'm like, yep, that's not right.
That's we got to do something different.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of trial and error.
I think we've all here, Luke. I know you've made a lot of baits. I've made a lot of baits, and I mean, the first run of any bait when you try it is usually shit.
Yep.
I mean, it's usually crap when on the first try, but it's those second, third, fourth, 100th tries that kind of get it down, especially with a crankbait, because you got to deal with lip size, lip angle, lip shape. And then you got to worry about body style and weight and where to put the weight. And, that's there's a lot that goes into crankbaits.
Yeah,
and you know what? Go ahead.
I would think like crankbaits would be just incredibly tricky to make. I mean, you can make a crankbait that looks beautiful and then it looks great in the water, and then fish can absolutely hate them.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I mean, it's serious. If it doesn't have just the right, like pivot point or just the right roll, I definitely played around with making crankbaits a long time ago and tried all kinds of stuff that I thought looked good, and I never caught anything on them.
Yeah, there's definitely crankbaits that trigger fish, and then there's crankbaits that they'll hit when they're feeding, and there's definitely a huge difference between the two.
Yeah, I didn't have either of those things happen.
Yeah, I had neither of those in the beginning, and actually at the end too. That's why I don't do it no more.
Now, didn't you make the dying dog, Greg?
I did. That was another. I wouldn't say it was a happy accident, but it was. I wanted to make something like that, and I made that out of Alumalite. Had a make your own lure kit that was big. Nice. That Larry Dahlberg had promoted, and so I, of course, if I see something new, I do the Don Chin philosophy. Give me 6, and I get it and start messing around with it. I got a hard bait, the hard bait kit and the soft bait kit, and made it, kind of cut the thing or molded something out of clay, and then made a mold of it or a cast of it, and just started playing around with it. And the first muskie ever caught on a dying dog was actually caught at Cave Run Marina. We just got back from I think it was the Minnesota show, and I'd showed it to Brad Rue. And when we got back, it was late. It was like midnight, and I was staying on my parents' houseboat. And I go down there. I made one before I left, and got back and said, I want to see what this looks like. So I had holding a flashlight in my teeth, put it in the water beside the boat, and jerked it twice. And one shot out from under the dock and ate it and scared the hell out of me. I didn't know if I had a muskie, a beaver, or what I had on there, but I had something. And ended up getting like a mid-30-inch fish, hit it from under the dock. So I was like, well, it obviously has the, I guess that's the right action. And that's kind of how it went from there. But no, making baits are really cool, and it's always cool to catch something on something you made, and being able to see that in the water actually work for you, and then work for other people after that. The Dying Dog's done really well for it's got its little cult.
I had a hell of a year on it this year.
Oh, did you?
It was a good bait. Oh yeah, it was a good bait for me this year.
Yeah, it's got a cult following. The guys that love it just absolutely love it, and I don't get a lot of hate mail from it, which is nice. I get it for other reasons, and it works out really good. What now, Chad? This weekend at the show, sorry, what are you going to be? You're going to be doing a seminar for us. What are you going to be talking on?
Yeah, I decided not to do it now, so I'm good.
Oh, I decided not to do it.
Find somebody else.
Oh, well, that's always easy.
No, so we're going to be talking about the different styles of baits and everything. So there's a lot of new guys getting into muskie fishing, more than I've ever seen before, and there's so many different baits on the market. There's so many different styles of baits, and half the guys that are doing it, they don't know what all these baits do and when you fish them and why you fish them then. So I'm going to go over the different styles of baits and when and why you fish them and the reasons why you're doing it and what's triggering those fish to hit those that time of year.
Oh, that'd be cool. I should set in on that one. Because I'm
musky dynamite. Works all year.
I'm always looking. Well, that's cool. Luke, you've been doing a seminar. The one you did at Chicago. It was on what was it on?
Just having a detailed approach to muskie fishing. Just paying attention to like the little things and the small details when it comes to lures, line, hooks, feeding windows, tackle. Just because what it's like fishing up north by us now. Just every bite counts and every hour counts. I mean, it's just basically the reality of dealing with our current circumstances with just less fish and older fish, and just kind of the things that I do on a daily basis to still try and catch these things.
And so it's like old bulldog, young bulldog. Old bulldog, smart, laying around, burps, farts when he wants to. Young bulldog bites everything. including your toes. So
Yes.
it's that mentality. I get it, man. I get it. It's just one of those deals where these, we are getting a lot more fishermen. So, Chad, are you noticing a lot more fishermen in Ohio, a lot more younger guys?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a big kayak crowd coming out now. And used to be you go in the lake, you know everybody and and say hey, move on, and now you got all these new guys. You have no idea who these people are. And they're giving you the finger and wonder why you're in their spot.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that.
The thing too, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but like the thing, I just wanted to say this before I forgot, like the thing too nowadays is like everybody's good.
Mm-hmm.
With all the amount of information that's out there,
it's
and
pretty annoying.
A ton of information.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, what somebody has to start with now, as far as like, hey, I'm going to start muskie fishing versus what we had to deal with.
Oh,
we learned how to do everything wrong first.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Even to think like electronics wise. I mean, we just had, we were lucky enough to have like killer GPSs and chart plotters and things like that. But I mean, there's no map chips, and half the time you're driving around out there hitting things and.
Yeah, or you're holding the map while driving. It blows across your face, and then you can't see, and then it blows out of the boat, and you're like, oh boy. Then you get to learn by the stars. That's what I like. Learn by the stars.
So I did a cool trip to Burnsville, West Virginia last year, and my GPS just wouldn't register there. It just showed I was in the woods the whole time. That's how I was going across the lake. I'm like, yeah, well, this is like old school now, how I used to fish. And so you're just trying to find the river channels and lining up spots and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool to do it like that because you rely so much on your electronics now.
Oh,
and,
yeah. I mean, I'm full panic mode if my electronics aren't working. I mean, we gotta stop and just like in school. Didn't you think when you were in school that you would catch on fire a lot more than what you have in your life because you had to stop, drop, and roll all the time? Every class they teach you how to stop. I always thought, you must catch on fire a lot as an adult. Well, apparently, so far I haven't caught on fire that many times. But that's me.
Depends on the camp out you're at, right?
Exactly.
I would. You've probably started on fire, or almost started on fire, quite a few more times than the average muskie fisherman, though.
That's inappropriate, Luke. That is inappropriate.
Well, I've also now heard from several people that you're telling people about like the 30 different ways I tried to kill you.
You have tried to kill me a bunch of different ways, Luke, in multiple countries, U.S. and Canada. So.
I was still laughing about that when I was trying to remember the boat ramp story. I mean, I kind of remember that, but like
with big guy.
Yeah, did we just that was at the north or the south Garrison ramp, right?
It was at the north Garrison ramp, and the wind blowing in, and it's like 3 degrees outside. Nothing in the boat. You couldn't get to the boat. You couldn't get to anything in the boat. Chad, there was an inch of ice on everything, including me.
And I did not tell you to walk behind the boat as we were going down that steep incline.
That is.
Like you made that decision all on your own.
Well, I'm not known for making the best decisions, especially at boat ramps. I have had to call wreckers in at least 3 times with me.
Didn't you and I also? You remember how at the South Garrison launch, how there, if you got off the concrete, how it was like a 2-foot drop off down to the stones that were around it?
Oh yeah.
Didn't we drop one of our 620 killers off the edge of that and have to like put a tire jack under it or something?
Oh yeah, to get it back up on the concrete. Oh yeah, yeah. No, that Mille Lacs had some. I mean, well, let's just face it. Mille Lacs had some sketchy ramps.
It still does.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it does. I mean, the one by the casino there. Was it Rollins? Is it Rollins Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rollins Bay, where you just go in the parking lot and there's nothing but glass in the parking lot, where people have busted windows and stole stuff out of vehicles. I had mine stolen. I had back when satellite radio used to have that thing the size of a shoe up on your dash. I got that stolen and some Sudafed, so I can only guess what was happening there. Listen to some tunes and make some meth. But no, it was there's some sketchy ramps. How are the ramps there in Ohio, Chad?
No, we have pretty good ones, so we really don't have any big issues. Now, during the wintertime, they do draw them down, and there's some lakes you can't fish. They draw them down like 5 to 8 foot. Like Salt Fork, Leesville, you can get in during the wintertime at 8 foot down. Piedmont, you can't. So I mean, if you have a little John boat, you can throw it in there, but it gets a little sketchy then. But overall, they're pretty good, to be honest with you.
Sure. Well, all right. Well, that's cool, man. Well, let's wrap her up here, guys. What, Luke? You got anything you want to plug?
No, just we touched on the big one, the stealth rods. I mean, that is definitely the coolest project that I've been a part of in quite some time. So very excited about the stealth rods from Thorne Brothers.
All right, Chad.
No, I mean, not really. Just I always appreciate all my clients and everything like that. They helped me have a real good year this year, and my sponsors and everything, London Lures, Ball Shad, RS Nets, Pandemic Baits, RC Tough Rods. Everybody was really good to me, and really appreciate them, and hopefully continue to do it all again next year.
All right. Well, guys, remember, check us out at the Ohio Musky Show this weekend. We're going to be there in Hilliard at the McCoy Center. Guys, make sure you come out. There's going to be a ton of stuff there. We got all kinds of vendors. Thorne Brothers will be there with the stealth rods that Luke is talking about. And, guys, if you're looking for a place to stay up north in the off-season from Muskie, or maybe a late-season trip, you can come see me, shoot me an email. We got the place up on Lake of the Woods that we're doing. And also, if you want to get your season started early, come on down to Cave Run Lake here. And, we'll take you fishing. So get with me, 606-776-6729. And, guys, we will talk to you later and see where we're at next week. See you guys.
Hey, man.